Welcome to Manna at the Tap, a podcast of Tapestry Ministries that provides a daily reflection of the Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. The Tapestry community calls the reading our daily manna. It is the spiritual nourishment we need to feed our souls and the sustenance required to foster our spiritual growth. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler with you on this spiritual journey, and together we share insights and interpretations from the daily Bible reading, which enriches our spiritual lives. It's Friday, February the 7th, 2025, and the lectionary reading comes from chapter 27 of the book of Numbers. This chapter illustrates the transition of leadership from the elder statesman Moses to a young military leader who was empowered to guide the 12 tribal families of Israelites from the wilderness where they had lived for the past 40 years into the promised homeland. The leadership team of Moses, his brother Aaron, and their sister Miriam led the community from a life of slavery in Egypt, crossing the Red Sea before journeying into the wilderness. And when the census was taken, the community numbered approximately 2 million people. The community now stands at the edge of the promised homeland. At the start of the 40th year of their journey, Miriam passed away, soon followed by the death of their brother Aaron, who served as the high priest. Moses is the only remaining member of the original leadership team. Now the Lord has spoken to him, instructing him to prepare for his death and to pass on the leadership baton to a new generation. The lectionary reading begins at verse 12 and concludes at verse 23 of Numbers chapter 27, when the Lord invites Moses to a mountain range so he could view the promised homeland. When Moses initially accepted the challenge of leading the community out of Egypt, he felt assured that he would be the one to guide them into the promised homeland. However, after journeying with the community for 40 years, he was not allowed to lead them there because he rebelled and did not follow the direction of the Lord. Moses was now 120 years old. And as he viewed the promised land, he realized what the people needed was someone younger who could lead them in military matters. This new generation deserved a fresh leader to guide them. Moses then asked the Lord to designate another person so the people would not be like sheep without a shepherd. It's interesting to note that he envisioned the individual as a shepherd for the people that he calls sheep. You see, when Moses first met the Lord, he was a fugitive hiding in the wilderness, tending his father-in-law's sheep. Moses envisioned someone he had mentored after dispatching 12 community leaders to scout the land about 38 years earlier. Caleb and Joshua, two young men, presented an encouraging report urging the people to claim the land. In contrast, the other 10 leaders offered a discouraging report hindering the people's progress. Joshua had served as Moses' assistant during the community's years in the wilderness. So, together with the Lord, Moses organized the commissioning service. The community came together to witness as Joshua would replace Moses. And Joshua stood before Eleazar. And Eleazar placed his hand on Joshua's head while Moses urged the community to embrace Joshua as their new leader. They were to honor him, they were to respect him, and they were to do this because Moses had agreed to transfer the leadership power, and the fact is, he was soon going to pass away. He instructed Joshua that whenever he needed to make a decision, he should seek the Lord's guidance by consulting with Eleazar the priest. The leadership team now consisted of Aaron's successor, that was his son Eleazar, who was now the high priest, and Moses' successor, Joshua, the young man he had mentored all of his years in the wilderness. These two young men were prepared to lead the people into the promised land. Regardless of whether you are a leader or a follower, they are valuable lessons to learn from this story. For leaders, ensure you have mentors. You have been mentored by someone who takes their leadership seriously and has been guided by the Lord. We are encouraged in Psalm 1 to seek the wisdom of those who follow God's teachings because they will help us to avoid the consequences of disobedience. As a follower, ensure that you understand the character of the person you are following. Joshua received strict guidance from Moses not to act independently. He told him that whenever he faced a decision, he was to consult with Eleazar the priest, as Eleazar had the ability to discern God's will. I have a question for you to consider. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a leader, or do you see yourself as a follower?